I'm so funny.
Okay. Enough. Wait until...
I said I'm hungry now.
Lord.
It almost messed up my drink. Oh my gosh.
Welcome to Las Locas Chronicles, where we dig into the lives, laughter, and legacies of two Latinas walking in faith and servitude. Each week, we unpack our journeys through ministry, sharing the triumphs, trials, and everything in between. So grab your cafecito, get comfortable, and let's get into today's episode of Las Locas Chronicles.
Hey everybody, welcome to Las Locas Chronicles. That was good. That was real good.
We're getting good. We're practicing.
So today is another day for conversation, for reliving some things.
Okay.
For allowing God to just come into the room and just have conversation. And when we do this, we're just comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is who we are. Today we're in our little 90s. We're feeling a little 90s today. You know what I'm saying?
We're bringing it back.
We're bringing it back. So, you know, I got the ponytails up. I got, my bangs couldn't curl. Like, imagine what would you do that? But with the...
Oh, you know how many lines that I had burnt right here on my forehead with the curling iron?
Yeah. So we just come here, we kick it. We talk to you about our stories. For those of you who are just tuning in, my name's Alexa.
And I'm Jessica.
And we're just sharing our walk with God. We're sharing our walk, our journey, our experiences. Las Locas, we're Latinas, crazy about our faith, crazy about our life, crazy about the purpose, crazy about God, Jesus, family, all the things.
All the things.
And we're crazy enough to say yes to God in the places that make us afraid, okay?
Ooh, that's
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's who we are. And I told Jess, because Jess, you know, it's her snack time. And I was like, all right, so we're going to bring the snacks on the pod because, you know, if y'all been a follower of Ladies Night, you know I was always snacking. And I like it, the snacks.
I tried to eat some of the snacks, and she said, it's not time to eat the snacks yet. I said, okay.
Just like that, huh?
I mean, that's what I felt like.
Pretty much. So, and then, like, you always see me, mostly, I like to be comfortable, so I always have my security blanket, you know.
There's someone visiting us here.
Oh, I don't know why this is a 2-person right here. And
right.
Anyway, so you see us all.
Las Locas y el Loco.
So we have our blankie, we're comfortable, we're excited, and the snacks on deck today. I did a little mix for her. So she's got the extra toasty Cheez-Its. Let me make sure. Can you hear the crunch? She's got her skinny pop because we got to cancel all the calories. Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Oh,
and then,
my gosh.
She's got my favorite in here, which is if you know, you know, Chex Mix has different flavored mixes.
Mm-hmm.
This is the turtle mix. So we're going to be snacking, talking. What's in your drink?
I have this coconut pineapple ice.
Yeah.
It's the only flavor that I like. And your husband is so sweet that he went out and bought a whole pack just of that flavor.
He's a better host than I am.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. Like, he's
got
always...
me lemon cookies.
Yeah. He wants to put the calories.
Coconut pineapple.
Right.
Has been trying to feed me all day, all night.
Yeah. He's a better host than me.
Which my husband, you know, is like, don't be mad if you come home and start complaining.
But you drank your collagen today.
I did. My husband wanted to make sure I drank my collagen.
So that's what we're doing, and I always have my ice water.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty much what I drink. So, Yeah, so we're so glad. Listen, thank you to everybody that has subscribed, that has shared,
Yes.
that has come along this journey, that has responded, that
We're
has
definitely feeling the love.
for sure, that has written to us, that
Yeah.
has emailed, that has commented. We are so grateful.
Yes.
Our prayer for you is that you find someone out there that you could journey with, that you don't have to do this together, and more importantly, that you share your story.
Oh,
right?
100%.
More importantly, that you share your story. We are true believers that everything that we've been through in our life should be exposed through our lips so that others would get to know Christ.
That's always the main goal. That
Absolutely.
God would be glorified through our testimony.
Everything.
Everything
yeah.
we go through it will never be wasted.
Never be wasted. And that's why at this point, it's easy to share like the hard parts of our life, from childhood to teenage years, and some of the new wounds that we've had to go through, and not everything, right, that we're gonna share is traumatic or related
Yeah.
to trauma. We're also gonna share some great parts of our story, some victory. We're going to share some victorious parts of our story. We're going to share times where, man, God made a way where there was no way. We're going to share all of that. But the truth of the matter is that Jess and I have been through hell and high water, throughout our whole life. We've been through things that were very difficult to have to commandeer and go through. But anyway, so we're excited that you're on this journey with us. We're so thankful to each and every one of you. Please, if this is your first time, we ask that you just follow us, and help us spread the word.
That's right. Share it.
Yep, we got 2 locas on deck.
So, friend, what do we want to talk about today?
All right, so there's been a conversation that you and
Uh-oh.
I've had a little while, and I want to kind of just walk through it, navigate through it. Like we've been saying, like this is like our therapy sessions.
We're exhausted after this.
For real. That's true story. Yeah. And so let me lay down, and then you could walk it out because I may forget certain parts of it. But
okay.
You know that I've been a very busy person, and I'm always up to help someone. I have worked on saying no within the last 5 to 6 years. I can't say yes to everything. I say yes to every assignment that God has for me. But I think over the course of, I can't even say, almost all my life, I've realized that I have continuously pushed my dreams to the side.
Oh.
I have continuously just put myself on the back burner, and I have felt guilty for thinking of putting myself, top 3.
Right.
You know what I mean? And when I'm talking about dreams that God has placed inside of me. And there's some of them
I know
that I had a dream last night about some of them, and I felt like I didn't feel released like Joseph to expose the dreams because it's not time yet. And for those of you who know me, know that I'm a very I say I'm a very transparent person.
Yeah.
I state how it is. I don't hold back, no filters, but I didn't feel the green light from the Holy Spirit to expose the whole dream, right? But there are aspects of my dream that of course are way bigger than I could ever imagine or even know how to begin them, right? But for many years it's like, Alexa, I need your help with this. Okay, sure. Or can you do this for me? It won't take you long. That gets me so upset And at times it almost pisses me off. Like, because how do you know that it won't take me long? The fact that I may make it look easy doesn't mean it's easy.
You make it look easy because it's your anointing.
It has nothing to do with me.
Right.
Nothing to do with me. There have been times where I've literally had to be in front of the computer, close my eyes after working on the project for 2 hours and not working out the way it should, and close my eyes, turn away from the computer and pray, Holy Spirit, guide me and give me the understanding, the wisdom, and the knowledge that I need to make this happen. And I'm not lying to you, within the next 15 minutes, all of a sudden I know I'm guided by the Holy Spirit on how to do this, big task or whatever the case may be. So I really, it bothers me when people think she could do it because it's easy for her, right? So over the course of so many years of my life, I've had these projects in my heart. I've had these dreams that just require my time. I wish I could ask someone, hey, can you come and help me with this? But what I'm asked to do doesn't require people, right? It just requires my time to just plan it out, strategize, find out how to do it. All things that I can do on my own, right? For the meantime. And just every time I'm about to desarrollarlo, develop it, I literally, because my husband's also a very organized man, right? OCD almost. So he would tell me, your problem is that you need to sit down and you need to allocate, this time to the church per week. And this day is for, this is my time ministries and your dreams, and this day to the freelancing stuff that you do, and this time for your speaking engagements, right? Great plan. Listen.
That's way harder to implement.
Right. Great plan. And I believe what Ecclesiastes says, that there's a time for everything. There are people who say, well, I don't have time for that. That's a lie. God gives us the ability to have the time to sleep, to have the time to take that bath, to have the me time, to have the children time, God gives us the ability to have the time, right? It's just a matter of stewarding that time well. What ends up happening with me, Jess, is that I will take out, you saw my planner, I got the highlighters, the stickers, I have the pen with all the colors. I'm a pen girl. I love me pens and highlighters and stickers. I have a whole box of stickers. Like, I have all the organization, the task, the sticker that says, things to be done today, things to do, priority and top 3 and all the things. Well, let's say, and I have a day off. My day off is Tuesdays. Please don't call me on a Tuesday.
Oh, well.
My day off with my husband is Tuesday. Okay. And this is my regimen. On Mondays, if I'm out speaking through the weekend, Mondays until 12 o'clock is my time off.
Okay.
Okay. My personal time off. Like, I take it to rest, to sleep.
Right.
And
rejuvenate,
and then get at it. Then I clean my house. Mondays is house cleaning time. Everything's gonna smell like fabuloso. Everything's gonna, laundry gets put away. The whole 9 yards. Anyway.
Yeah.
So my thing is, I have this calendar, and now it's time to do the things that have been placed in my heart to do. And I take out my laptop. It's a whole thing, guys. It's my laptop, my planner, my iPad, all the pens, my Bible. Like, it's I need a whole desk. Not a whole desk. I need a table for me. Okay. And I leave this house because if I'm here, I'm going to feel like, ooh, I have to organize this or that. Whatever.
Right. Oh, look at the closet. I didn't notice that before.
No. So I leave
The
here.
baseboards.
I'll go to the library. I'll go to a coffee shop,
Yeah.
which one of the best coffee shops to do work in is closed. So annoying. That is so annoying. So I have my spaces where I go. As soon as I open the laptop, get myself going, and I'm ready, I get texts, calls, emails, emergency, please do, I need this by tomorrow, da 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 da. And I'm not talking about a day. I'm talking about for years.
Yeah.
I have put my dream back. And funny story. Before, we had this planned, Jess and I have purchased tickets to do this for the next 4 months, 6 months. It started back in the day, right? So we have everything planned. We have cut this time out. We don't need, again, we're just going on a whim and what we feel that God has placed in our lives, in our hearts to do. We don't even know where this was going.
Mm-hmm.
We had no idea. We just said, okay, let's do it. Right? I tell my husband and I tell our operations director at church, next week, I am not going to be found. I have already laid out all the programs for the week. I have done the work for the week. I have given out I have implemented all the things that need to happen because we have groups that happen throughout the week. Everything has been done. I told my husband, you're here this week because he's also very busy with outside things. I need you to be at the forefront of everything. Anything that happens needs to go through you.
Right.
I am out.
Yeah. Because we're using him as a barrier. Like.
Right. And Jessica, as the living Lord is my witness, what has transpired? And I thank God that you were here because I would have probably been arrested for murder.
Well,
no. But honestly, like, what's happened?
Yeah, just lots of interruptions, unplanned visitors, and just all different types of, distractions.
Everything that you could possibly think.
Yes. Yeah. And every time.
And I was happy that you were here to see that I'm not like messing around. Like,
right. And you calmly just kept repeating yourself. Well, we set aside time for this because, either she's flying to Dallas, so that's money invested. That's time invested away from work. Right. That's time invested away from, like we prepare for these things and we only have a short amount of time to be together to focus on the things that God has called us to do.
Right.
And whenever you're trying to do that, the enemy will come against you to bring distraction. Not anything bad, right?
Right.
But distraction anyway.
Distraction. So we're going to talk about the distractions of our lives towards our purpose, right?
Yeah. But I was proud of you, friend. Because you said it calmly. You said, well, I already said this was my week. I set aside time for that. And you know what? And for us, it's this, right? But it's other people who have been saying they want to write a book.
That's all I want to get at. Okay. Yeah. Because again, we're sharing our chronicles.
Yeah.
Our stories for the benefit of someone else. Like, I would hope that the people that for your children to watch this later in life, your grandchildren, right? For my spiritual kids, for the kids that the people that I have the beautiful opportunity to mentor,
your nephews.
Yes, I would love for them to sit down, laugh with us, eat with us, and also take these nuggets in, right?
Yeah,
because you mentioned book. Well, one of those projects is a book. Is about 5 books that I'm going to be writing.
Yeah.
right?
I have a half-written book on my computer right now.
Right. I have 2 started books on my computer right now, right? And I needed one of those books to be written and published by next week because I'm traveling to speak somewhere, and I wanted that to be the first place where I release this devotional book that I'm doing. And guess what? That didn't happen.
Mm.
The whole week that I had set off to do that, because I only needed a good 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
My husband was out of the country, and he's my first priority.
Yeah.
So I took advantage of that opportunity and said, well, he's not here. I can work on this completely day and night. I'm here for my church, blah, 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 blah. And what ends up happening is, there was an emergency
Mm-hmm.
that took me out that whole week.
Mm.
There's nothing I could have done about that. It
Yeah.
was an emergency, and I needed to put on, that hat and be there
And be present.
and be present. So I had to put this
Project back again.
again. Okay. And so, and after that, like we've been here and we've been doing this, but you've had Zoom today. You have a Zoom that you have to be available for.
Yeah.
I've had to be present and done things for the church. This morning while you were on that call, I was doing emails and doing references and doing other things that I need for the rest of the month.
Right.
So it's not like we're just sitting here.
Right. In between recording, we're answering emails,
and
text messages,
chatting and just, no,
Yeah.
we're still working.
Yeah.
We're doing the most that we can. So I need you to kind of like come in. You saw firsthand. My husband told me again today, like, hey, I got another call. These people need our time. And I just, softly and with respect and love, looked at him and I said, well, I'm not going to be available for that.
Yeah. And that was hard. I know I know that's hard because when it's your family, your husband, you want to help them. It brings joy
For sure.
to help them. But on the same note, right, even though that area will bring joy, watching your dream slowly die is agonizing. You know what I mean? And so in essence, what happens is, yes, those things normally bring me joy, but then you start becoming bitter because you're like, man, if I didn't spend time doing that, I could have been.
Let's talk about that because I need to
making my dream here come to life.
I need to just kind of let out those feelings.
Yeah.
Because, and this is real talk.
Yeah.
This is real talk. There have been moments where I have felt that. I have felt, Lord, at this point, it seems unfair. At this point, everyone else is doing what they want because I'm coming alongside, because they know that I will be that support system and I'm that workhorse.
Yeah.
At this point, they know I have her. She'll do it. Hey, can you get this out for me but we need to post it now. Oh, sure. I know the urgency in that. And I know where God is doing with that. And I got you.
Yeah.
But very few times can I recall someone saying, hey, do you need help with that dream?
Yes. I was gonna say that we spoke about that a little bit the other day when a lot of times we're there, at a moment's notice to help everybody else, accomplish their goals and dreams and projects and tasks and all the things that they have to do. But then when you focus on your dream and you want to, where's everybody? Where are the people? Where are the people?
Right.
And
here's the thing, like also let me acknowledge, right? Here's the thing also, like my husband would say, because I'm very honest with him and I'm like, yeah. I feel sometimes taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And I feel very frustrated in the fact that I'm here for you. You need me to do this, check. You need me to go there, check. You need me to handle this, check. Like, I got you.
Yeah.
But who got me? You
Mm.
know? And he, in turn, will tell me this. He'd say, well, the problem is, as much as I want to help you, I can't because I don't know how to do what you do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
and
I feel that because that's my husband too.
And here's the other side of that, right? And this is being honest, and I hope to God that someone understands where we're coming from. This is not a complaining.
Yeah.
This is just a moment of speaking truth and allowing God.
This is real talk right here.
Right. And here's the other thing that when I get that message, here's what comes into my mind. Well, I didn't know everything I know.
Until you did it.
Until I learned it.
Mm-hmm.
I took the time.
Yeah.
To learn. This did not come naturally. You understand what I'm saying? Like there were hours of YouTube videos, Google searches. Like, yes. I didn't just sit here, because you know what's happened is, man, this remote's not working. Can you fix it? And you know what I've been doing lately is, you know what? I walk them through what I would do. Search Google right now and put this and that. Yeah. Because then I would have taken the 20 minutes to do the research and fixed it, and that's a waste of my 20 minutes. Right. When I'm gonna teach you how to do the research so that you can fix, because you're the one that wants to watch TV, not me. Yeah. And so and I'm using my husband example because he earnestly and with all his heart is saying, I want to help you. I just don't know how to do what you do. And he's a busy man, and I'm talking about other people as well in my life.
Yeah, that's just an example.
I didn't know how to help you either. Right. But I be out of love and out of wanting you to win, I took time, my time, to learn. Yeah. And help you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is where the phrase comes in. Not everybody's called to go where God is bringing you. I just firmly believe that people are in your lives for certain seasons. And then, sometimes when the season is over, then that's over. Not everybody's called to go where you're going to go. Not everybody is willing to invest in your dream. Not everybody's willing to invest in you, and that's the truth right there. So out of frustration is how this was born. It was that conversation that this was born. Absolutely. Right? The frustration of, I have all these dreams inside of me and these dreams are dying. And then here we are, we're like, girl, I'm 45, I'm 46, time is running out, when in reality, it's all about God's timing.
And that, again, like, I remember, because you just asked me, how you doing, friend? Yeah. And you're going to ask me how I'm doing. I'm going to tell you. Yeah. I'm not going to be like, oh, everything's great. Like, girl, God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. He is good all the time, right? But at that moment, I'm just feeling like...
we're human.
I'm feeling like I love what I do, but there's things inside of me that I need to see come to pass. Yeah. I love what I do, and I'm very grateful for the calling, but that's not it. Not in my life. There's more, and I expressed that to you, and I told you my my heartbreak on when ladies' night had to take a pause, for understandable reasons. Yeah. You know what I mean? I got hit with something devastating, and all my girls also were having some very monumental things happen in their lives as well. And we're not going to get on camera, and we needed to be ministered to at that time. Yeah. So we took a pause, and I told you how much I enjoy what I do, but for me, and I express this to you, that was the way that I was getting the message of Christ out
Yeah.
there, and not within the four walls of the church,
Yeah.
not at a retreat, not at a convention,
Yeah.
not at a
It
church
was the way that
assembly.
God called you to do it.
The way he called me to do it, and I was able to be this myself,
Yeah.
you know, and it was no holds barred, and let's reach this, let's give this message and reach the people in a way that they're going to relate. And we had hospital stations, nurse stations that were watching and tuning in.
Yeah.
And it was also, and I expressed to you like the heartbreak of, I got a taste finally of what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was ripped away. And that's when you were just like, and that's when you just gave me the face. Like,
go back to the other episodes when we talk about the face.
and that's when I was just like, man, you know, I don't think she gets it either. But
yeah. It wasn't that I was processing, because what she was expressing to me was what I had been feeling as well, because I had my podcast, but it was very hard.
Talk about the podcast. Okay?
Yeah, so
I don't think we have, you know, here I am, you know, expressing myself to her, and I gotta be honest, like, I felt, here's another person that just doesn't get it. And maybe it's me, you know.
Yeah.
At that point, when I shared it with you, I thought, maybe it's just me. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm making a big deal about this, and I need to like stop.
Yeah.
I need to stop making it a big deal. Maybe it didn't even matter to people.
And that's a lie of the enemy, right?
No, but I need
Yeah.
maybe I'm making a big deal for something that, who cares? Nobody watched it. It didn't minister to anyone. You are just making, you know.
Yeah.
And that's how I took that conversation.
Yeah, and it wasn't again, if you go back and watch that episode where we talk about the face and the lack of emotion, it really is just me processing and taking out the time to really think about stopping myself from being a Peter, opening my mouth and making promises that I couldn't keep or that I couldn't fulfill, or getting excited about something and then not seeing it to fruition. So that's what that was. But what it relayed to her was that I didn't care, and that I was just another person, you know, who just wasn't going to be there. But what I was thinking in my mind was, I had done my podcast and I did like 10 episodes, but it was very difficult to do a podcast by yourself. And so I just found it very difficult for my personality. I don't want to say, because there are people out there who do podcasts by themselves and they're fantastic. Excellent. That's just not me.
And I did Ladies Night with 3 co-hosts.
Right.
I don't feel like I could do this by myself.
Right. And I just felt like, and I kept telling my husband for a long time, this would be so much easier for me if I had someone that I could, you know, a great host that we could just have great conversations, that we would click, and that we would. So I had one person in mind and I kept praying about it. But, you know, sometimes you get little red flags that you want to ignore. And so, I don't know, I started feeling those red flags, and I was like, God, I need to know, like, literally, you need to let me know if this is the person, because I don't want to start something that's not in your will. And so within the week, me and this person kind of had a fallout, a misunderstanding, and it kind of just ended the whole thing right there. Then a couple months later, I found somebody else, and I was like, we have great chemistry, presented the idea to them. They said yes. And that was the end of that. Like, after that, I mentioned it a couple months later. I said, hey, let me know when you want to start. They said, let's start in the new year. The new year came and went, and we never started again.
And
so, okay.
We never had this conversation.
We never had this conversation. I didn't know this.
Right. And I didn't know anything about it.
Right. So I knew that she had to pause the show. I didn't know how she was really feeling and how that really made her feel about the show. Like, I had no idea that you were feeling that you were grieving over it. It's grief. It's because it's grief. It's like the loss of a dream, even though it's not over, right? Until it's over. but it's still grief, because I know you put your heart and soul into that. And the relationships that you have with these other women, and how intentional it was your baby, and so when she was saying that to me,
Sorry, just
no,
I
don't
think
ever
I
apologize.
think you just saying that made it real for me.
Yeah, I'm sorry, friend. But it's never over, right? Until
No,
God says it is.
absolutely, but I think like just kind of hearing that, like I'm grieving that,
Yeah,
it makes it real for me.
yeah. And
And
grief goes,
because
yeah,
because when you birth something
yeah,
and it was like you don't understand, like Monday nights, when we would do it or whenever it just brought me, so it didn't matter how hectic everything else was, that hour was life for me.
yeah. And we could tell. And I'd watch it from Florida, and I'd be in the comments like, "Go, girl, look at you living your best life."
Yeah.
So when I heard you, I know my face displayed something completely different than what I was thinking and feeling inside. And I thought, could this be it? Could, and then I thought about when we were kids, when they had ministered to us and said that, you guys were going to work together in the future, that we were going to do ministry together. And so, I kind of just let her say everything. And then we kind of just went off, because I like to talk to my husband first, because my husband says that I just like to go off and do things without, thinking about it and everything. So now I've gotten into the habit of saying, let me talk it over with my husband, just so I don't double book and overcommit.
For
And
sure.
so I went back and I spoke to my husband, and I said, what do you think about this? I said, she's feeling like this. And, I felt like this. And I felt like there's so much more that I want to do. And I just haven't been able to find the right person. And the other two people just, it didn't work out. We didn't even get started, and I have this inside of me that I got all this equipment. I had bought all this equipment. And for a year, this was happening with the different partners.
And I, again, had
no idea. No idea that this is all happening.
And to be completely honest, this is the first time that I knew about the other two people, but this is the first time that we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Completely. Like, there's a lot of things about this story that I'm just finding out.
Yeah.
Live and right here.
Yeah. So the first time that I had the first partner, I went out and spent thousands of dollars on equipment, camera, lights, furniture, all the different things. And so I'm not a video production person. So like you, I'm spending hours on Google. I'm trying to figure this out. And I had recommendation from the production guy at work, and he's trying to tell me how to fix it. And I told you that I didn't know my camera only lasts an hour and battery, so I had to buy special wires. And so anyway, it had been a whole year that I had been messing with this. And then I made my office into a studio, and that cost me a couple more $1,000. And I bought furniture, and I did all these things. And so here I am in my house with a studio. I took one of the bedrooms. My husband said, make it into a studio. Put all the furniture in there, all the equipment, all the lights, 2 microphones. No people to do the podcast. Where's the podcast? Where are the people? Where's my host? What's happening, Lord? What is happening here? But my beautiful friend had told me this, and because I like to bounce around, but my beautiful friend had told me one time when we had the conversation about, Alexa, I never get any invites. Nobody ever asked me to speak at the church. She said, friend, you don't even like to travel. You don't even like to get on a plane. How's the God going to use you to be an evangelist? She said to me, and I took these words to heart.
You did.
She said, friend,
you did. You proved it last night.
You want to be a minister? You want to get invites? You want to go to conferences? You want to do what I'm doing? You got to be ready. You got to prepare your heart. She said, go prepare the 3 messages. She said, go buy the suitcase. Get the travel things ready, right? Get the outfits ready. Get the shoes ready. Yo, next day,
I didn't know
Amazon.
Yesterday we were chilling in her room, and I was like, yo, that's a beautiful suitcase.
Yeah.
Because I travel and I do not check in my bag.
Yeah.
I have perfected how to pack a whole week in a maleta this big. Yes, a whole week of different outfits in a maleta this big, with the accessories, makeup, toda la vaina ahí. And I looked at her bag and I was like, yo, that bag, because when you're like, yo, that bag, you could do some damage in that bag. And that's when she told me what she did the day after.
I said, girl, that's
we
the
had
bag.
conversation.
That's the bag that I bought. That's the suitcase I bought after you told me to live in faith. And if you want to be a speaker, then be ready. Right? Be ready to be a speaker. So I bought the suitcase. I went to Temu and bought all the jewelry organizer and all the little things and the little bottles. And I did all the things.
And the organizers.
The organizers, the pack.
The packing.
The pack cubes.
Yep.
And I went and bought all these things. My husband's like, where are you going? I said, listen, I don't know where I'm going, but Alexa said that I should get the suitcase ready.
That just brought me nostalgia. Alexa said. You would always say that. Alexa said,
get the suitcase, get the this. I bought the dresses. I know where dresses to go to for my church.
Listen.
She said, you got to be ready. She said, just be ready. I did it.
Women in ministry.
Yeah.
It is different.
Yes.
Okay? It is different. And again, culturally, I have... Over the last 3-4 years, God has opened doors for me to speak at different arenas that I've never gone into. And it's different. But for the cultures that I'm used to speaking at, the attire is different.
Yeah.
And the respect has to be different. And that's why I told her, I know what you are comfortable in, but if you want to allow God to let you speak in different areas,
yes,
as a woman, it's different.
Yeah.
On, the form that I have, so that I can kind of get an acknowledgement of where I'm going and what is going to be required of me. One of the questions I ask is, what is the dress code?
Yeah.
Some people don't even have to, men don't have to ask that question.
Men don't ask.
But for women in ministry, it is different.
It is different.
And I feel privileged enough to be able to kind of walk that out with Jess and say, you got to be ready for everything.
You have to be ready. And you know what? I mean, but that was the same thing that happened with the studio. So here I am with a suitcase, ready to go. Where? I have no idea. Because I don't even like going on planes. But then all of a sudden, I have to get on planes. Like, these last year, I've had to.
Right.
I've had to.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I've had to, and I'm like, and I'm like, wow, this is, and every time I go, I've had to perfect the packing.
Right.
And I've had to really decide.
And what's the next thing on the agenda for you?
What do you mean?
To get yourself ready for the trips and wherever God is going to take you. What's the next thing on the agenda this week? You're going to get yourself a TSA pre-check.
Oh, that's yes. And somebody called me this morning and I was telling them and they said, girl, they just said to me, you need to get the pre-check. It's in Dallas. I'm going to show you how to do this. That was God sending this person to tell me so that they would walk me through the process.
It's good for 5 years.
So here we are, right? Here we are because and she never knows anything that's happening, right? I got the suitcase, the studio, all the equipment. I'm practicing, doing my Bible studies online, using all the equipment. It's dying in the middle of the Bible studies. Mm-hmm. I'm fixing the problem. Come back next week. Oh, it's working better. Something else dies. And I'm perfecting.
So it's all, what is the word here? She's
it's like a trial run.
Trial run, right.
It's
trial and error.
Trial and error.
Right.
Until now I'm doing my online Bible studies, perfection. I'm the colored lights in the back. I'm messing around with everything. People are like, wow, your background looks great. And I'm just learning every single time. And still have no idea. Right? So she comes now with this so all that's happening. To give you context,
I'm hearing it from
when the conversation.
I'm hearing it.
When the conversation comes up. So this is what's going through my mind. Could this be that we're going to
I would have no idea that this is going in her
by
head.
My face.
By her face. Because she's like.
Right. And so I go home and I tell my husband, he goes, I think that you should move forward until God shuts it down. He goes, if God doesn't shut it down, then you just keep going. And I said, okay. So I said, all right, so I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm going to call her and I'm going to let her know. So I called you.
So she called me. Yeah. And she said, hey, hey, Alexa. She's like, so I was thinking, right? I was talking to Richie and, I got all the camera stuff and everything. And then she shared with me about how she had thought about doing this podcast 2 times prior. And she's like, so, and one of the things that you said in that conversation that made me feel comfortable was, look, we could give this a try.
Yeah.
And we don't know what God's going to do with it.
Yeah.
What's going to happen. And if we do it a year and something happens and God calls you out to do something else, that's cool.
Yeah.
Or if God does something with me and that's cool.
If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
But like, you gave me a freedom. Like, I'm okay. Whatever God's going to do in your life.
Yeah.
But let's do it together and I don't know. There was just.
And I said, it's not the end all be all. And I said, ultimately, you want to do something. I want to do something. I said, let's do this for each other.
Right.
And I said, all we have to do is be in action, right? Action causes momentum, but you never get momentum if you don't get started. That's a word for somebody.
I think we need to just wait a second and
yeah,
let that simmer.
Let that simmer. Who got the keys to my Beamer?
This is what happens in regular. This is what happens on some people would be offended and be like, why would they even quote? They need to be quoting Bible. And the thing is, like, this is...
We live like in music lyrics.
It really... well, anyway. If you don't start, the ball will never get rolling and momentum will never be created.
Right.
Once there is momentum, you have to continue so that it could keep going.
Yeah, and part of me was thinking, like, God, if I could help her make her dream come true.
Don't do it.
I was like, if I could help her, I was like, I know that you're going to send somebody to do that for me. And I was like, God, I just need to, like, something needs to happen because I just can't, like, I don't want to become like 75 years old and think that I coulda, shoulda, woulda. I want to live my life knowing that I've done everything that God asked me to do and that nothing stopped me. Like, when I talk about fear of the Lord, I never want to stand in front of God and God say, I gave you all the resources. I gave you everything that you needed to be able to do the thing and you didn't do the thing. And so what I was thinking was, if I could just help her, I know that God would do that for me. And so that's what I was thinking in my mind. And I was like, I just didn't want to see you sad because I knew how it felt to see your dreams die. And you believing that God, this is the thing, And it really did break my heart. It really did break my heart. And I'm sorry for my face. So there's that. But I think there is something to that,
Yeah, for sure.
That when when you have big dreams in your heart, I do think that God does call us to help others build their dreams, and God will do that.
And I hear that, and I've walked through that, I've talked through that.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's so important for someone to hear that, because you heard the frustrated me say, here I am doing, but I do believe that. I do believe for every person that I've ever helped, it was a seed planted.
Yes.
I completely agree. But it was necessary for me to just kind of like expose the feeling and the emotion, because I know that there's so many other people that feel that way right now.
Yeah.
But the truth is, like, there's nothing wasted. God sees everything that has been done under the sun. And what one of my life verses that I live by is, everything that you sow, you will reap. Everything you sow, you will reap. And for every time, another person, I have an apostle who I love and I cherish, and there's so much inside of her. And I told you about this. There's so much inside of her, Apostle Yolanda Quiñones. And I told her one day, she came here to visit.
I remember, yeah.
And I just looked at her, and that she was just here so that she could rest. And I saw her the way we've known each other. I saw her for her. I didn't see her as the woman of God, you know. I
Yeah.
saw her as mom. I saw her as, you know, we bought her a book and how she just loves to read. And girl, she read this book in 4 days and she was like, oh my God. Like she was loving it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the way I read the Bible. And I saw her cooking for us and learning even the cooking stuff and just seeing the human side of her. And then I tell her, because you know she's getting older, Jess,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, what are you doing so that other people will experience what I'm experiencing right now?
Ooh.
And why don't you have something going on YouTube? Or, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, because there's so much trash TV. Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't need to see your outfit of the day.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, not that that's trash, but like, there's all these little influencers out there. What are you influencing me in?
Right.
You know, you're making me feel like I'm ugly, I'm fat, you know, what are you influencing
You're influencing me to go on a diet.
Right,
And
right. Like, I mean, you know, I, that is a whole job. Influencers, let me tell you something, that is a whole job
yeah.
because they're constantly having to do content. They gotta do, we do this once a week.
Yeah.
They gotta do that every single day.
Yeah.
You know, and
It's a lot.
and it's a lot. People are like, I can't believe they get all this money, they do nothing. No, honey, they actually have better calendars, better programming, better organization, better administration,
Research.
better research. They're doing so. I give it up to you, right? But I told her, I said, there's so much content out there that's like whack, and you have gold, and you're gonna die with that. And I
Mm.
said, I want generations to see what I'm seeing in you.
Yeah.
And I cried to her, and she said, you know, many people have told me and this and that, but she said, but I don't know how to do any of that.
Mm. And you helped her.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I said, I do know how to do that. And I told her, I said, and she goes, yeah. And I said, yes, with the application that I use, you could be anywhere and I
Yeah.
could be anywhere, and I could come alongside and connect you and do your show. And when I did that, I was like, Lord, what you said about me, I said about her.
You see?
I'm gonna sow into her what I would love somebody to do for me. And it, like you said that, and I'm like, oh my God, that's been my prayer my whole life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it because one day God's gonna bring me someone to help me. For years, I'm talking about 15 years, 8 years. So when you said that prayer, I was like, no, you just said that. And the last thing was with Apostle. I said that, and I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like if it was mine. I'm gonna do it perfect. And I just spoke to her this last week, and I told her, your show is going great, the people are great, but people want to hear you. I'm gonna interview you once a month because you, and making it better for her. Because there's another
Right.
thing, like, okay, I'm just gonna do this.
Right.
I'm just gonna do this. Now it's a waste of my time. Like,
Yeah.
let's just get this hour over with. No, you gotta do it like if it's yours, or don't do it at all.
Right. You have to do it excellent. And we've always been like that. We've
Always,
always been like, if you're going to do
always.
something for the Lord, you
Do
do
it
it excellence. Because our God is excellent. And what he gives us is excellent.
That's right.
God don't give us no trash.
No, he doesn't. And like, so you saying that, like, coming on board for me and hearing my heart, and here we are, I feel like this whole time I started off complaining, and now I'm ending off in gratitude, because as I am frustrated, as I am being, tossed and toiled and pulled, and I'm being pulled in every direction, and I'm being emptied out, Jessica. I'm being emptied out. Like, yeah, she could do that and that and that until there's no more left. All right, now, Cinderella, now you could go to the ball with your rags.
Right. Yeah.
And now I heard what you said, and I didn't know that you prayed that. And I'm like, wait, God, so you thought of me.
Yeah.
And
he remembered you.
He remembered me.
Just like he remembered Hannah.
He remembered me. Ooh, don't do it, girl. Like,
he did.
You're the only one that's supposed to be crying on this podcast, not me. He remembered me. Yeah. And full circle moment. This is what happens, y'all.
Yeah.
You don't know what he's doing.
You don't know what he's doing.
And you won't always get the person to, say and declare like what they were feeling and their thought processes. You won't always get the explanation.
Yeah.
But here's God.
But know that God is working it out.
He's working it out. And, of course, we've always said it. It's in his timing. I don't know why, I had to wait 15 years for some of the dream to come. I don't know why I had to wait. I don't know how much longer I have to wait for Ladies Night to come back on, which is part of This Is My Time Ministries. But I remember when we were setting up, here's, man, when we were setting up, I told you, and I looked at you, I said, do you know that this is the first time that I don't have to do everything by myself?
Oh my God, I was thinking that. I was waiting for you to finish so I could say we were in the house. Do you see how God is? This is a God moment. I was thinking it like, oh, when she's finished, I'm going to mention that when we were in the house, we were something happened with the equipment.
Right. It happens every show.
Every time. Something goes wrong. Happens. No matter how much, I can do my Bible study perfect. And then all of a sudden we get to do this and everything falls apart.
Yeah.
And she did, and I said, well, maybe just click here. Did you check the setting? Turn it on and off. We're going back and forth. Okay, let me check this video. And we're brainstorming, and she said, this is the first time I haven't had to do this by myself. And it feels good to be with somebody who can help me figure out how to get this done.
Who speaks the same language.
Same language.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm a little tech savvy. Again, everything
it's self-learned.
Yes. Yeah. And with her self-learning, which she has more experience because this is part of her arena, right? But she's also learning as she's going with all of this. And I was able to speak to her in a way that she grasped it right away. And she was able to convey to me like, okay, I think it's the system and this and that, and we have to, and the capture card and this and that. And I understood.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Tower of Babel.
Right. Yes. I hate when you work on a project with someone and you end up being like the subject matter expert.
Right.
And it's so stressful.
It's so stressful. And then you know what ends up happening? They just rely on you because you know it and they sit back.
They don't ask good questions.
No.
Because that's the thing. Like one idea leads to another idea. Sure. But if you have no ideas, then it doesn't lead anywhere. So
yes.
And you would say something and I'm like, oh, maybe it's this.
Right.
And I would say something, you'd be like, oh, maybe it's this. And I'm like, yeah, girl, check that.
Right.
And even this whole weekend, we've been doing that.
And I appreciate it. Like, there's some things that I had to work on for, the editing part of it all. Because that's what I've done. That's the training that I've done for my church. I've done, that's what I've trained on. One of the things that I love to, and I told my husband, I said, if I didn't do anything else in the church, I would love to take on just the full production because, that's the way to get the church out of the four walls.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it, but the production part requires, and I thank you for everyone that works in the creative and production part
it's no joke
of your church and ministry.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it is the least appreciated sometimes
Mm-hmm.
because they don't understand the time it requires for editing, the hours. Okay. So thank y'all for all you do. So I'm gonna be doing that. And to hear Jess say yesterday, okay, so while you do that, what can I do? Jessica, I want you to know, like, that's new language for me.
Oh.
It is. I've What can I do?
Yeah.
I'm always telling people what to do.
Yeah, that
You
too.
know, because
You're good at
no,
that.
because I'm not going to be the only workhorse here.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, so I'll be like, I need you to send me these pictures. Can you fix this file? Can you do the graphic for this? I don't like that graphic, doesn't look good. Fix it so I don't have to do it all.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't called to do it all. But very rare do I have someone that says, okay, I see all that you're doing. What can I bring to the table?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just like, huh?
And then we had spoken about some ideas about 2 cameras and everything. I said, you know what? I'm gonna do the research on that because I know that we can get that done pretty fast.
Right.
Like with just a little bit of research and
right.
contacting people and
Right.
getting the right resources. But again, it's a partnership.
It's a
I feel
partnership.
like God has put us together. Our skills, talents, and abilities, they complement each other. And we have a heart with the right intention.
Yeah.
Not to be famous, but to help somebody's life.
That's it.
Which is what we want to hear, is why
Yeah.
we keep saying share your stories.
Right.
Because
right.
that's what brings us life, to know
For
that
sure.
what we're doing is impacting your life, and that
Yeah.
and that you can see that God is working in your life, and that you can do the thing
Right.
that God has placed in your heart. You can birth that thing.
Absolutely.
And so that's what our goal is.
Definitely. I think at another point in time, and this is in all honesty, years ago, there was a part of me that felt like, yeah, I want to make my name big.
Yeah.
This is real.
Yeah.
This is real talk. And I was so upset with like these platforms that people were getting that gave watered down word, and it was so kindergarten, and they have been given the privilege of speaking into the souls of thousands of people, and they're coming in, they're half prepared, and I'm so angry. I'm like, that's where I need to be. Like, here I am, like speaking to 30 or whatever, and I had a conversation one day, and I just let it out, the conversation was with my husband at lunch. And I just let it out, and he was quiet, and he heard me, and this and this and that. And then when it was his time to speak, man, oh man, God used him to bring me back down. And he reminded me that the 10, the 30, the 50, the 9,000, it's all a privilege.
It is all a privilege.
It is all a privilege. And that God does not have to use this mouth at all. And I mean, that's the time where I stayed quiet and I reflected. And the next morning, I had to come into this room with my face on the floor and repent before God, because my heart had gone somewhere that He did not call it to go to. Kind of like what you spoke last night when Eve, had a choice to make, and the serpent came and said, if you eat there, you're going to think like God. You're going to have the wisdom of God. And I had to really come to grips of, who do you think you are? You don't need to be anywhere. If not by the grace and mercy of God that He brings you out to these places, who needs to know your name? Nobody needs to know your name. Remember where you came from.
That's good.
Do you remember where you came from? Do you remember the forgiveness that you had to be given? Do you remember how inadequate and do you know how uneducated you are?
Wow.
And I was just like, oh, and not in the worst, like, you have to understand, like, it was a teaching moment for me. And I learned the lessons. This years ago. And so when you say that, we are not trying to lift up our names here.
Yeah.
We are not trying to get 1 million followers.
Right. Right.
We're just trying to get this to the right people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that God can use you.
So that God can use you
And
to
some
do the
of
thing.
you are going to speak to the 10,000s.
Yeah.
Some of you are going to write those books on the New York Times bestseller.
Yeah.
You know, it may not be us, Jessica. You know, we're going to be.
It may be the generations after us.
Right.
It may be somebody that's watching this that gets inspired to do those things.
Exactly.
And we'll never know about it.
We'll never know.
You know, until one day we get to be with the Father, and the Father's like, hey, by the way,
right.
let me show you what these seeds did, what your obedience did.
Right.
You know, I want to bring this back around because about that suitcase.
Mm.
Because it's something that you said, and that really made me think, like, God, you're just so funny. You're just so funny. So we decided that we're gonna do this podcast. And she says, oh, let me just look up some flights so I can just go to Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
So finds a flight super cheap to come to Dallas. And then my grandfather dies. And then she's kind of like, do you still want me to come? I'm like, maybe it's not a good time. And then she's like, well.
Because I had to be conscious. Like, she just buried her granddad.
Yeah. Like we just.
But not only did she just bury her granddad, she just buried her grandmother.
Yeah. 9 months before that.
9 months before. This is her last grandparent.
Right. My last grandparent.
And I was like, you know, I would want someone to think of my emotional state.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm also a workhorse. Like,
right.
I'd also be like, girl, come, you know, he's gone. I have to deal with the grief, but we already planned for this. Let's go. That's me.
Yeah.
And I'm being better at thinking about someone else.
Yeah.
So when she was like, yeah, I think maybe it's not a good time. I was like, damn it, Jessica, why can't you be strong? You know? I didn't say that.
But then she said, I was really looking forward to it. And then like instantly, it kind of like shook me out of it. It was like when somebody grabs you by your shoulders, like, you know.
And I prayed about sending that because I took my time. And I remember I was writing to my sister and I was just like, man, I had this trip. We have a project that we're doing and it just got canceled. And it was another disappointment.
Yeah. And she said, oh, I'm so sorry. I was really looking forward to it. And it kind of like just shook me out of this.
But I understand.
Yeah, but I understand. And it kind of just shook me out of this like funk. And I said, so let's do it. Because I didn't want her to, because you know when I read that, it made me feel like I'm re-inflicting pain on her life.
Oh.
Like I felt like, oh, she's feeling another disappointment. And I didn't want you to feel another disappointment.
Oh my
like
God.
I knew your heart, and I knew that you were so sad about, you know, what happened with your show and having to pause it. And I was like, no, God, I don't want her to feel sad again. And I don't want her to think that, look, we said we were going to make this happen. Now we're not going to do it. And so it kind of shook me out of it. And I said, you know what? Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Let's just come. And she did. And she came. God knows exactly what you need to hear to get you to move.
Wow.
So she came, and then, you know, we did it. And then I got my next ticket, which, guys, I don't like to fly. So here I come. I said, okay, I'm going to fly to you now. And here I go, and I buy, and you know, I buy the ticket, and I take out the suitcase that Alexa told me to buy, right? And here I go with my little suitcase and all this equipment. So I had bought these lights, and these little tiny lights came with this ginormous bag. And I was like, why did this come with this ginormous bag? What am I going to do with this? I told my husband, I'm just going to get rid of it. And my husband said, the bag. And my husband said, don't get rid of it. You don't know when you're going to move the lights. I said, why would I move the lights? This is my studio.
How long did you buy these lights?
I bought them like maybe 8 months ago, 10 months ago, 8, 9 months, like around that. So then my husband said, he said, no, just keep it. Just put it under the sofa. I said, okay. So so then I start packing all my stuff, and I'm like, everything fits in the bag perfectly. So here I go with the bag that I didn't want, with all the equipment that fits in there perfectly. Then I go with the suitcase that I had sitting there for almost 2 years, having faith that God was going to use this so that I could go speak somewhere. I come here to Alexa's house. I have my suitcase open. I take out the bags and I'm doing all the things. And Alexa says, Jess, are you excited about speaking at the church? I go, yes, because they invited me to speak at the church. And then she goes, Jess, it's your first speaking engagement for 2024. And my heart melted because I said, there was the suitcase that you told me to buy, to have faith that God was going to open up doors of opportunity for me to speak. And there I was with the suitcase ready to speak at my first speaking engagement for 2024. So y'all, you just don't know what God does and how he brings it all around, and how, in essence, because I had the willingness to say, I want to help her in her dream, here she turns back around and is pouring into my life and giving me that speaking engagement. That
Which
gave me hope.
Which I didn't.
Your husband
said,
did.
My husband said, do you think Jessica would speak on Wednesday? And I told him, I said, that's what I said to him was, well, she has no choice. That's what she wants to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I said, hey, whatever.
Yeah. You said he wants to know.
Right.
And so you just, guys, you just don't know what God is doing. If funny, I love that movie Sister Act. I love the movie Sister Act, okay?
Number 1 or 2?
Number 1.
Okay.
And this is where she's talking to Lauryn Hill in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, I want to tell you about this book. And she says, the person in the book, if you want to be a writer, then you get up and write. You're a writer. If you want to be a singer, you get up and sing, and you're a singer, right? And you just have to, whatever you believe that God has called you to do, you just need to do it. You just need to prepare for it. You just need to practice it. You just need to be in it. You just have to go to the pool and jump in the deep end, right? And just do the thing, right? We don't, sometimes we get so focused on, who's doing it with us and who's not doing it with us, that we're not practicing. We're not studying. We're not getting the equipment. We're not trying it out. We're not doing the Bible studies. We're not reading the books. We're not doing we don't want to do children's church because that's not a big enough audience for us. We're not doing youth ministry because God never called me to speak to you. We're not doing the things, I knew I was going to be a speaker. Even when my character was horrible, even when, I was all crazy, I would still do the thing. I did it broken. I did it broken. Until God was like, it did it so much that the word was just healing my heart. And every time I did it, I was getting better, and God was healing my own heart. Every message as you prepare for is healing your own heart.
Wow.
So that you could go out there and deliver it to the people.
My God.
So it comes back around, sis.
It sure did.
That suitcase, here we are. First speaking engagement, 2024.
The first one. And man, I'm blown away. Like, you said a lot.
Yeah.
You said a lot that I didn't know. Whew.
Well, I'm glad we could put all the pieces together.
For real. That's how I feel. Like everything unraveled today.
Yeah. To see how God was working it all out.
For real. Yeah. But like, just your sentiment. I think you pierced my soul when you were like, I don't want to be another disappointment for her.
Yeah.
Like, even that, because I remember writing to my sister and telling her, dang, I'm just so, it was frustrating. I remember exactly. And I was like, but I get it. And she knew, and my sister in covenant, she knows me in such a way. She goes, you're disappointed because you know that you would have still been on that plane. You would have still done it because that's who you are.
Right.
And you're just looking for that. And I was like, that's exactly it. So then I sent you a text because we're girls and we know each other.
Yeah.
And when you were like, you know what? I just had a lot of things come up also in church.
Yeah.
Which I became a part of,
Yes, you did.
Okay. So she had not only the loss of her grandpa, but then I literally was only there for what?
Like 2.5 days?
Yes, like 2.5 days. And she got, I don't know how many assignments added on to those.
Yeah.
Within those 2.5 days.
Yeah.
That would have impeded us to even like go forward with this.
Yeah.
Or like, I'm sure she was like, Alexa's gonna be here and she's gonna be uncomfortable. Sorry guys, this is real life. This is real life right here. And and so she said, look, I have a few things that I have to do for church that came up. But if you're okay with that, and I'm like,
let's go.
When have I never been okay with that? Like, you just tell me what we gotta do, we're gonna do.
We did all the things.
And we did all the things. All the things. And still recorded, did a mukbang, did a rehearsal for the church. All the things that needed to be done. And then I was on a flight back to Amarillo. So
in like 2.5 days.
For real. But to hear you say, like, I didn't want to be another disappointment.
Yeah.
Someone thought of me. And you have to understand, like, here I am, the woe is me.
Yeah.
Here I am, the woe
but
is
God
me.
Knows.
The victim, like the feeling like just, and again, it goes to the trauma that I felt. Like nobody sees me ever.
Yeah.
And today, live, like, allow me to process this and walk this out with somebody. You are hearing it today as firsthand. I'm hearing it, and I'm just blown away. Like, wait a minute. So someone cared. And now what? Now you just expose the enemy's lies.
Yeah.
He's a liar, the father of lies. Now I have to work on removing this feeling of nobody cares, because that's not a truth.
Yeah.
The truth is God has cared.
Mm-hmm.
And he has deposited people in my life around me that he has put a genuine concern for me, as he is concerned for me.
Mm-hmm. And
now I'm like, wait a minute, you said that all fast, and I'm like, what? I love him, and where he goes, I'll follow. You'll always be my true love. Sister Act. I wish I could sing His Eyes on the Sparrow like Lauryn Hill, but Lauryn Hill is Lauryn Hill. Okay.
God is good.
All the time.
God is faithful. So whatever it is that you're trying to do, whatever dream that you have in your heart, God is putting all the pieces together.
Apparently so.
And even though we may not see it, we may not feel it, all we have to do is keep walking in obedience, keep taking the next step, believing that God has all the things under control.
And keep sowing the seeds in other people.
Keep sowing the seeds.
In fertile soil. Keep sowing the seeds in fertile soil. Don't throw your pearls to swine. Sow your seeds in places that you know are going to grow and that are going to be investment into the kingdom. And you will see and you will reap the fruits as well.
Yeah.
And God has not forgotten you. That's what I'm learning today. Like he did with Hannah. And
he
God
remembers you.
Remembered her. And he gave her a son, and she gave birth not only to her son Samuel, but she gave birth to other children too. So we're going to end it right here. He's not forgotten you.
Yes.
And he will soon align you with people that will invest in you as you have in others. And make the time for yourself. We're going to write the book. We're going to finish them.
We're going to finish the books.
We're going to finish the books. I mean, we have some work to do on our end also to make these dreams come to pass.
Yeah.
Right? But like Joseph, he had to be in a prison for a little while before his dream came to pass. Sometimes you're going to be in those dark, cold places and people are going to forget about you like the cupbearer did.
Ooh.
But in God's time, he was remembered as well.
He sure was.
And then it was his turn to reign. So To God be all the glory. Father, thank you. Thank you for exposing
Yes,
it
Lord.
all today. Exposing it all today. This was crazy.
It was. I think it was the snacks.
She will,
I'm thinking about lunch right now.
She will have snacks from here on forward. I will make sure of it. And we will have a snack that we highlight at all of our shows. Thank you so much for watching. We love y'all. Share this. And we'll see you at the next Las Locas
Chronicles. Bye, guys.